Yeah. Vanglorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United Front.
Tell it.
What you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square, solid, and your circle too, you don't need a place for solace. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss because they get handed a check. We kick the can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginners turn to humble endings. And you with KBA is a win-win. One.
Peace, and Black Crowd family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place for knowledge on the shows. Knowledge Born Live. We are here on the late night tip. After midnight, Knowledge Born was the science edition. Shout out to everybody who is tuning in from wherever you're tuning in at. And shout out to everybody who will view these archives in the future. So let me get my administrative stuff out of the way. I got to type it, get everything together. You understand what I'm saying? So I ain't slipping. Got to put this into practice. Have this as a habit to where I get a chance to do this, every time, all the time on point, before and at the close of the show. So let's get to it. If you're listening from any place else, we're broadcasting Facebook, a couple other different places. Make sure you come over here to subscribe. Make sure you come over here to comment, www.youtube.com/Do The Knowledge Radio. That's DOTHAKNOWLEDGERADIO. Check out our hub site, our e-commerce site, for all of the merchandise and show-related information, www.doknowledgeradio.com. See what else? You can support the station financially to help fund our community outreach programs. We are feeding 100 children 5 days a week. Still been doing so since March, and it's July. We're going into September, so our goal is to raise the funds, enough funds to take care of everything that's associated with that all the way to September 30th. So you can do so via Cash App, hashtag $knowledge and you can do so via PayPal, paypal.me/Do Knowledge Radio. Or you can buy you some merchandise. Okay? You know what I'm saying? You can get you some merchandise from our hub site, www.doknowledgeradio.com. Click on Market, and you'll be able to get you some merchandise. So, you can support our community initiatives in that way. So either you can donate or you can make a purchase. All right, let's see what else. Follow the show on Instagram at KnowledgeBorn357 on Instagram. So a lot of stuff that goes up there from the show directly. So at KnowledgeBorn357 on Instagram. On Twitter, I think that's how you say it. Twitter. At KnowledgeBorn15 on Twitter. Again, that's at KnowledgeBorn15 on Twitter. And if you have any inclinations on being a guest or you know someone that is a black business owner, author, poet, MC, artist, and activist, whatever the case may be, and you're looking to be a guest on this platform, this is a global platform, it goes all over the planet. We got Africans that listen from all over the planet. So email us, donotsradio@gmail.com. Or if you want to take it a step further and you want to join this network and have your show daily, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, annually, semi-annually, biannually, whatever the case may be, email us at donotsradio@gmail.com and we're looking to your request. We have a couple of different shows that are on this platform, amazing shows that come on this platform, and we're looking to grow. So if you have the content or if you have the discipline, if you have a sincere love for African people and you want to get your message out, please email us donotsradio@gmail.com and we will look into that process and tell you what that process entails. So email us to be a guest, a show slot, or you can send a direct message on Twitter or on Instagram. We have that right there, and I believe that's everything that I got aside from booking our services at dtkenpoweru.com. You can go to www.dtkenpoweru.com and take a look at our services. We got a lot of services going on. You can look on the business pages, also on Facebook, DTK Empower You, DTK Multimedia Services, DTK Speakers and Bookers. That page also. There's a bunch of different pages up there. There's a lot of things going on. DTK offer a lot of different services as well. So if you don't see them, you should see them on the DTK Empower You site. You should be able to click on it and go directly to it. So we might take a moment and look and do that. But we're here on the After Midnight edition. And, if y'all got something to say, questions, comments, whatever, please come over to the YouTube channel and make your comments, talk about what's on your mind. We could go there back and forth, a little Q&A, but we're going to bring on the reason for the season. We can't have this After Midnight edition, this Not As One Was the Science, without royalty in the building. And the warrior queen who takes no ishq, okay? See what I'm saying? So let's bring on the reason for this season. Let's see what she's calling herself today. You understand? I live for this moment right here. When I can bring on the assassin, aka Amaudi Israel. Probably said it wrong. I said it almost. Okay. So let's welcome to the platform Saz Shua Louis, aka Assassin.
Shalom.
Excuse me.
Amut.
Yes, right.
And
Amut.
I encourage everybody to just Google that real quick. That is fire. I just found that today. But yes, it's fire. And no, I'm not throwing shade at nobody. I'm digging that right there. So, I'm not trying to be funny or nothing. It's, it is what it is. But I do have a message. Let me just get this off my chest for a minute. I need to speak to some people real quick.
Talk to them.
Man, let me do this. Hold up. I got mad. I was studying. I got mad windows open.
Talk to them.
All right. Violencia nunca debe ser la primera opción, pero estamos resueltos a ganar la libertad por cualquier medio necesario. Violence should never be the first option, but we are determined to win our freedom by any means necessary. That is all. Okay. So I'm done with that. That message has gone out. And yeah, I was talking to certain people, like I'm pointing my finger at you. And so yeah. Also, I have my syllabus is off the chain. That's what I wanted to tell you. It's crazy right now. I mean, I feel great. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So
I'm good. I'm good. Okay.
Did you look that up? It's fire, right?
I ain't looking it up.
You need to look that up so you can know what that is. When you get some time, look that up.
Break it down for us.
No, I don't. No, I don't teach that. I don't teach.
You don't teach that.
I don't teach that. It's just something I found today that was fire or whatever. But I mean, in regard to all of that, I just want to say that it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I have no problem with any of that stuff. I've always said it. It's just something that it's just some things Israel don't deal with, and that's okay too. I mean, people just need to just accept that, about us. I mean, I don't reject anything. I read everything. I listen to different people. I mean, I embrace it all. I just don't follow certain things. I have my own, way that I go, but, when I discover something dope, I'm going to tell you about it. So I just find that it's not a God. First of all, it's not a God. It's something that these particular people feared. That's what Amu is. So I think that people need to look that up and see where it came from and how it came about, because nobody talks about that, particular thing, Amut. I never hear it. Only hear, about the popular ones. What is it? Ra Tum and let me think. Who gave birth to Shu and what's it? Newt, somebody, and then they gave birth to Geb and Newt, who are brother and sister, who gave birth to oh my God, who gave birth to but anyway, the way I wrote it down was, let me just say this, because my syllabus is crazy. I'm telling you. My syllabus is crazy. I'm so proud of it. Okay, so all right, so basically,
now was you flipping through all the pages just now?
Yeah. You look. I'm an English linguist / philosopher / historian of that crack of history. Okay, just saying.
/ Amut.
/ Amut, right? So okay, so Ra Tum gave birth to air and world order. Now, see, that is important right there. See, that concept of world order right there. I'm digging that. And then they gave birth to earth and sky, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that creation story, right? And then they had some children. That's where Isis, Osiris, and Nep and blah 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 and Set came from, right? And then Horus came from Isis and Osiris, right? That's all they had to do was explain it like that to make it
sounding real Greek right now.
Yeah, real Greek. I'm just saying. That's what. Look, hey, what you want me to say? Okay. What you want me to do? That's the way it's explained. I mean, that's all they had to say from the beginning. Just saying, but
people explain that over the years, but people want to hold on to what they want to hold on because they got a lot of foolhardy ambassadors out here misrepresenting.
Listen. I'm still stuck on that world order. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't see where it say world peace. I don't see that. I don't see coexist right there. I don't see what's the other one? Integration right there. I don't see it. I don't see competing with with your enemy. I don't see being of the oppressed in that. It's not there. Now this is why they don't want to break it down like this. It's sad. It's sad. The truth shall set you free. I'm stuck at this world order.
It show you, because I'm a hood ratologist. You see what I'm saying?
That's dope too.
As long as you're doing bad, you're not a target. As long as you're doing bad, you're not a target.
Absolutely.
As soon as you start doing good, like, oh yeah, it's popping up there. Oh, okay. Here we come. You see what I'm saying?
So
Biggie said,
yeah.
How you doing, Biggie Small? I'm surrounded by criminals because he was making it. Now it changed. When he was a criminal, it didn't mean nothing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm surrounded by criminals, heavy rollers, even them shiesty individuals. Because wherever them heavy rollers at, where cats is getting money at, it comes from shiesty individuals. You see what I'm saying? So now this is the whole little situation, and I'm just using the hip hop analogy, on the strength because this is a part of our vocalization. You see what I'm saying? So he knew who he was around. You see what I'm saying? Like, so he knew who he was around, and then he tried to warn Tupac, like, yo, son, like, them cats you around, them ain't no cats to be around. You see what I'm saying? So he's saying he came up with those dudes. He was one of them. You see what I'm saying? Heavy rollers, smoking skunk and Mad Phillies, like cats start to develop an appetite for degenerative behavior based off of what they intake. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's why he was like, it's the ones to smoke blunts with you, see your picture. Now they want to grab the guns and come and get you. It was all good when you were smoking with them, but when they saw you on the billboards, they saw you, you know what I'm saying, and smiles every time my face is up in the source. You see what I'm saying? For his moms and everything. So now that they seeing you, some people are celebrating, and other people is like, damn, niggas want to get me on my paper. Damn, you understand what I'm saying? Like, so that's the whole situation, and this is old. This isn't a new concept. This is an old concept. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, it's a famine. Oh, where they got food at? All right, let's go.
People ain't never been hungry before. This is what I'm telling you.
So like
never been hungry before.
That's the whole analogy of that.
Yes,
This is why world order has to be into play. Because people got positional loyalty and comfortability loyalty. If we not eating, I don't care if you the king.
That's right.
I don't care if you the president. I don't care if you the prime minister. I don't care what you call yourself. We coming. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
We coming. And Israel will prevail, like we was talking about yesterday. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what it is. So that's a situation. That's a situation. So if you want your people to remain loyal to you, you got to be in a position to where you forward thinking. You got to be a visionary. You can't think about just now, because history 101 teaches us that civilizations come into existence. They begin to ascend, they reach a pinnacle, and then they start to go on a decline. And while they're on a decline, those people don't come see you while you're strong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
DMX said, like Jigga said, niggas test you when your gun goes warm. That's why I keep you scattering like roaches when the lights come on. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Like, so he like, nah, you ain't gonna never catch me slipping. My shit always ready. Bomb. Yeah, I'm ready for you. You understand that? Anytime, no matter what's going on. You see what I'm saying? So this is where they catch you historically when you on the decline. When your money no longer got value, when you no longer a superpower where cats ain't, but they don't care about what you talking about. This is when you got to be wise to deception, because their team up against you. This is where allies come from. They team up to come and get you. You understand what I'm saying? They're like, we got a common problem, so we remove that from power, and then boom, it ain't friends. You see what I'm saying? It ain't friends. It's allied forces, allied troops. Look at World War I. Look at World War II. Allied. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Who more? Okay, all right. Well, what can we gain from this situation? All right, let's go. Let's go. Who sent us? Who paid us? Who we working for? You understand what I'm saying? Where that money coming from? Boom. So now you under that thumb and come get you. That's why they be looking at Hollywood like, well, how come they don't? Nah, they under the thumb of somebody and they did something very, very, very dishonorable in order to get in that position. They ain't telling nobody about none of that. You ain't telling nobody about none. You ain't got nothing to say. You have something to say. Okay. Give me those pictures up there. Matter of fact, bring his daughter in here. You understand? So when it get like that, that's what it is. So when you say, world power, world control, this is what it is. It's not a nice situation.
It's never a nice. It's never nice.
It's a very bloody situation.
That's right.
Because
that's the reality.
Anything divine that you calling for blood in return.
Right.
Anything. So it's what it is.
Which is very significant. I'm glad you mentioned blood. That's what every blood is important to everything. Yeah. It's not just religion. People want to say, "Oh, it's a religion." No, man. No, it's across the board. It's across the board. And if you don't understand that concept, you need to study some more. And just to be clear, I broke it down to the elements and attributes and things, but they gave it names. So that world order is feminine, Tefnut. Okay. So I just want to put that out there and for, not because because I'm a female. So I'm gonna just put that out there. So that will be Tefnut.
It shows you how the ancients thought about family. Mm-hmm. Everybody comes because this who institutes system. That's why I don't have to say so much shit about it. When I be talking about family, people, when I start talking about people, because people got addresses and telephone numbers and zip codes. You see what I'm saying? You start talking about systems, you get real abstract with it. You see what I'm saying? You can go out there and be real abstract. Like now, I'm very, very, very specific. Families institute systems. Families institute cultural norms. Families put all of these things together, and they are family by blood.
That's right. It's showing you right here the genealogy. It's here. So you can't get around that. Can't get around that. Shu is the heir. Yeah. Right. Shu is the heir. Yeah. And Earth and Sky, that's Newt and Geb. Yes. There you go. Mm-hmm. So just wanted to put that out there. But of course I was getting my English linguistics on because I am an English linguist, right? And you have to connect the dots with the silly language and to get to the backstory of certain things. And I came up upon this. Now this is going to be a topic that we talk about. It's on the syllabus come this fall, right? So it says when I read it, it was funny to me. But then I ran it the last sentence, I was like, oh, okay. John Ponette, 1514 to 1556. Now, this is the first mention of the word race, right? Was around this time. The English word was the Anglican Bishop of Winchester at a raucous and revolutionary time in English history. King Henry V, 6, 7, 8 had recently inaugurated the English Reformation, established the Anglican Church, staffed in part at least with emerging radicals like Ponette.
Why?
Why? I'm getting to it. Yeah. When the Catholic Queen Mary, I determined to roll back Protestantism. They go to ism. They come. Yeah, we can talk about that. Ponette. I'm going to call them Ponettes. And hundreds of others fled to Europe. Now, the Germans, right? During his exile, Ponet wrote a short treatise on political power, 1556, which argued that the people can and should punish, perhaps even execute, wicked monarchs. Ponet's tract anticipated great liberal thinkers for centuries to come. That's important. By 1776, the short treatise rested well worn on many patriots' bookshelves. Now, these key words here in these years, it's like, this guy, okay, so first of all, what got me was, liberal thinkers. Now, today,
you gotta go back though.
you want me to go back up to the part where
Henry VIII?
Yeah. King.
Why did he institute the Anglican Church? That's very important.
What, the English Reformation?
Yeah. Why did he do that? Yeah.
That wasn't the focus here, but okay, I got you. All right, so it took place in the 16th century in England when the Church of England broke away from the authority of the Roman Catholic Church.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
That's important.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's important. All right. Let me go through there. Okay. All right. So these events were in part associated with the wider European Protestant Reformation, a religious political movement that affected the practice of Christianity in Western and Central Europe. Causes included the invention of the printing press, increased circulation of the Bible, and the transmission of new knowledge and ideas among scholars, the upper and middle classes, and readers in general. The phases of the English Reformation, which also covered Wales and Ireland, were largely driven by changes in government policy, to which public opinion gradually
the other part. That's all the other part. Henry VIII was a bastard. He wasn't messing with none of that. He wasn't messing with none of that. He had a very, very selfish ass reason for wanting to support this Anglican movement and this breakaway from the Roman Catholic Church. He had somebody he was married to that he wanted to get the fuck rid of, but he couldn't.
Right.
You understand? Like, so this is the look. They tell the story like that. You see what I'm saying? But everything else was the real story. So the root of the story is an increasing of power. You see what I'm saying? Increasing of power. But these were these other traditions and norms that if he fell up under that, you see what I'm saying? He could be able to divorce this woman and go get other women and marry them. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Yep. So all of these all together, and because he was doing it under the guise, nobody had nothing to say about it because he was financing and they was putting that money behind this new institution. This is what the Reformation is. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So them little small details in there. That's why I went back to why, because you start talking about the printing press. You start talking about the Germans is involved. You got the Gutenberg, all that. You understand what I'm saying? Like all of that is in there. So the things that look English was German before they was English. You see what I'm saying? And those people, in high places, you just brought up a damn German. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like a particular, so whether you talking about Martin Luther or any of them other bastards that come along with it, you become very critical people that are, interwoven into the fabric real quiet until it's time for war later on. You understand what I'm saying? Then they popping up out of nowhere. So yeah, my bad. I just wanted to throw that in there. That's why I said I didn't want to, I didn't want to go past that part because there's a reason for that. You see what I'm saying? And you still got people today, that's strict Catholic that'll die in a situation rather than get divorced. You see what I'm saying? Or they can't get divorced, or whatever the case may be.
Right, and the church changed because of all of that in England. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yes. Protestant Reformation. So if you go back, okay, so now you got the history because now you did that. He did that. He went off, but it's good information. that was good, because I'm on Panet right now, okay? Panet.
Chop his head off. Chop his head off.
I'm on Panet, all right? So all of it 1556, he wrote that, okay, in his exile. Then we get 1776, and then we get Patriots. So I'm just all of that nonsense in Europe caused all of this mess with Black people. I just you just have to be careful about what you're doing, and then Protestant protests, that whole thing. But I just find it interesting that they anticipated great liberal thinkers. The track anticipated great liberal thinkers for centuries to come. Liberals don't think like this, or let me rephrase that. Yes, they do. They just try to hide it. Okay, it says here that let me go back. This guy said, "Look, I'm with him on this part." He argued that people should and can punish, perhaps even execute wicked monarchs. If they're being dumb, you should be able to. And now you see where what a wise man said, that people shouldn't be afraid of governments. Governments should be afraid of people. Yeah. So this is where the Constitution comes from. If you go back that far, starting with the first one. So you have to build upon to figure out what was what and blah blah blah. It's just everything is connected. Everything. As far as race is concerned, it says that the definition says, okay, that a group of people connected to of the same people or connected to a common ancestor. So if that's the case, and they say that we all have a common ancestor, then there wouldn't be any race, right? Or do they mean one race? Or are we going by the definition that America, that United States gives it? Because it's totally different. It's race. It's only, they define it by two, and by the way you look, right? So which one are we following here? When you see race or whatever, is it all one? Are we all the same, or is it a human race and not different races, or are there only two races? Now we have three. That a third one they're trying to get off the ground, something by 2050 or something. Everybody going to be mixed or something like that. Something came out saying that. And then you have and that's one of my questions for the Q&A for you, but I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold that because I'm gonna give you a quote from a sister back in the day who said something. I know what she was saying because I know who she was talking to, and I know but I want you to answer that question properly, because the way it's taught wrong. Because what we did was we traded our education and threw away our educators and traded it for white ones. That's what we did. Segregation wasn't always a thing. And that also is being taught wrong, as if it was always that way. But we have to go state by state to see what the differences were, and to show that Black people were fighting to say ride trains or continue to sit in the same restaurants and like that, because what it was doing was it was displacing them out of society, something that they were used to, like we see with this pandemic right here. Like a lot of people have to rearrange their lives, and it's hard. It's a hard thing to do when you're used to some type of your normalcy. So yeah, they're going to fight, and they had a lot of what do you call fighting them. Like they took it to the Supreme Court. Forget about local and state. And this is my pet peeve with state and local governments. This is why I don't participate, because they do what they want on the state and local level. And so you have to jump and jump and jump and get all the way to the top, because that's what you have to do. Like if your boss, if you have a boss, if your boss is not acting right, you go to that person, you go to that person's boss, all the way to the president, because you looking for justice. You have to go higher and higher and higher. And Black people, we just start high. That's how we are. There's no all this, we're gonna stay at this local level and whatever and stay. I mean, when have we ever done that? Like, no, never, because we understand that there's no equity or fairness or equality on a state and local level at all, like none at all. Okay, across the board, you're not going to get heard down there. At least you get heard in the Supreme Court. They'll entertain it, and then we'll, bust you in the mouth and say, whatever, go home, I don't care, whatever. But we don't start little. We do everything big. Black people, we do everything big. So, I just wanted to talk about that, because all of this Black talk, we're not getting the right history. All right. And I've listened to this for, I guess, the past 7 years, and I'm just waiting for people to start. Nobody's doing it. So I guess I have to start doing it now. It's a lot of misinformation being put out there. People not doing their own research, believing what people say. And when people understand that you're speaking to an audience who doesn't care about going back and fact checking you, you can tell them anything and become it seemed like the greatest thing on YouTube, right? So yeah, so Black people need to do their due diligence and actually care, about their liberation. If they don't care, because you need that care factor in there, you need that in there in order to move forward. So people say, oh, no, Black people, we need money, we need this, we need that to move forward. No. It's inside of you. You need that care first. You have to get that motivation. It has to be in you in order to do this. If not, no. I feel like back in the day, back in the early history post, what we call slavery post, that's when we had all the fire. That's when it mattered, now it's like I'm going to work tomorrow. It's that kind of thing. I'm going to go get my money. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I have no interest in reading. I'll take Black History Month at just the way the white man gives it to me. I'll just take it like that. I don't need to know anything else. I don't need to know this. I don't need to know that. I think it's important. People should know when the last slave ship came into the Americas, right? Like, people don't understand that was 1856. They said that was the last known one, that it was a secret or something. Please give me a break. Everybody knew about that or whatever. I will probably say it went up to 1900, even way after Juneteenth. Right, because we know that what was it? The 13th Amendment was passed already, and those quote unquote slaves were supposed to be released and be free or whatever. But people failed to talk about the parts where slaves were given, like, quote unquote freedom, but then there were free Blacks who ended up in slavery, okay, because they were free, they weren't slaves. So see the technicalities of games they like to play, and this is in the history books, but nobody talks about it because it doesn't matter. Nobody, we just jumping around for Juneteenth. That's somewhat free. Okay, so I got people mad at me right now. You want it all or nothing. Yeah, I want it all or nothing. Yes, absolutely. That's just not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm gonna stick to that. So, anything you want to add to that before we get into
the topic?
Before we get into the topic, because this is just, oh man, this is crazy.
Gotta make sure my button works, because I don't have bombs over here to follow that. So let me just make sure that my button works. So
by 1776, the short treaty rested, well worn on many patriots' bookshelves. Well worn. So
yeah. Now we gonna tell them. United Front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the
motive
gritty
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.
That whole thing is fire, just like my syllabus is fire. And I'm gonna keep saying that because the syllabus is fire, and they're gonna approve it too because it's fire. So you need to start teaching real Black history. This is crazy. And also I want to give a shout out. This brother ain't here no more. He's not here no more. He's not here no more. His name is Solomon Carter Fuller. You know that name, right? Yeah, no. Maybe. Feedback. Let me get to. Oh, he's not here. Okay, so I flipped back. All right, so shout out to Solomon Carter Fuller. He was a psychiatrist, a Black psychiatrist. Okay, born in 1872 in Monrovia, Liberia. His parents were Americans who moved to where? Liberia. Why? Because let me read it word for word here. Solomon's grandfather was a Virginia slave who bought his and his wife's freedom and moved to Norfolk, Virginia. The grandfather then emigrated to Liberia in 1852 to help establish a settlement of African Americans. So, yeah, so when Knowledge talks about Black Americans have been doing that for a very long time, they've been doing it for a very long time. So there we go. We got a date right here. A year 1852. So yeah, are you ready for the question, the topic? I guess not. All right, so the topic is, and my question is to Knowledge, to break down the differences or tell me the different types of Pan-Africanism. From my understanding, there's local, there's national, there's African, like being on that continent, and then you have the worldwide one. So that is what he's supposed to be talking about. But I don't know where he is. And then I have a bunch of questions, and we probably won't get through them, that I came up with like not too long ago, that he needs to answer because this is his Q&A. So he needs to get back here because I'm ready to get started because I'm excited about it. And I have some philosophical questions for you too, in regard to some of these questions. And some of these questions are yes or no questions, or I'll throw out a person's name and another person's name and you choose which one. So some of the questions are fun. Some are more thought-provoking questions. It's kind of hard for me to find some hard questions for you, but you know. Did you fall off? I don't like it when you fall off because I'm like in limbo and I have no idea what's going on. All right, gotta do the what happened.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. Night in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. Let's get
And
back
that
to the
motive
gritty
is
with
best
spitting in
developed
my
by
city.
recognizing the common enemy.
If you can hear me, that was the second time it played. You probably didn't hear it the first time, but that was the second time you played it. Is that what happened?
I don't know what's going on with the button over there, but I ain't hear it at the time, so
You didn't hear it the first time or the second time?
neither.
Really? Oh, well, you have to assume that it played once, just so you know now.
Okay.
After you hit it. After you hit it. I was shouting out Solomon. I did already. Not Solomon from the good book, but I'm talking about first black psychiatrist.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I did that.
The Liberian.
Yes. Shout out to his grandfather.
Yeah, look at the family migration. You see what I'm saying? Like we really be thinking we coming out with some new stuff.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? We've been going and coming before the great disaster or the interruption of African history, of our African family history, because family is our foundation and family is our religion. So we've been going and coming all over the planet. That's how we everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
you know, if you're in one spot and you don't go any place, you never go any place. But if you rolling, okay? So just like I was talking about earlier with the famine situation, you know, it's feast or famine. So either you eating good or you ain't. And if you're not, you're going to bounce.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're going to bounce. And, you know, all of that all together, you see what I'm saying? So this is how we got to every corner of the planet. You know, Europeans will have you believe that they were the first people on the planet to explore, to deal with exploration of the earth. And they do a very, very, very artful job because they control the printing press, like we was talking about earlier.
Yes.
So
Right.
it wasn't just Bibles that they were using.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They were using all of these things.
It said that, yeah.
And they wasn't shit to their own people. They kept them illiterate. You understand what I'm saying? They kept them illiterate unless you had some kind of social status or you had some wealth.
Can you repeat that again? No, can you repeat that again? That print and press comment, because let them tell it. Everything's oral, and everything written come out of certain places. Yeah,
there are places where you don't need to write anything down. This is how evident it is. When you start breaking in generations, when you start destroying and taking out generations, there is the story. The Native Americans, they have their story that go from one person to the next person. And they always had someone in their village to speak their language, and they would teach their language. The eldest in the tribe would teach it to the youngest in the tribe. You see what I'm saying? So this is how this story, this cultural narrative is preserved from the elders that's about to be ancestors, to the youngest in the tribe who are ancestors return. This is their relationship. This is their family dynamic. This is the sociological aspect of generations and how these things meld together. You know, this is why it ain't no old folks, you know, hut. You understand what I'm saying? Where the old folks be at, like when you can no longer, you know, they become a burden for you. Nah, they have a job in the family and a role in the family until they transition. Then they have a greater responsibility to the family, and so does the family have a greater responsibility to the ancestral lineage. You know, so you can take that cross culturally and look around a society is built in that particular way. ancestral lineage, elders, peer group, youth, future generations.
Why they start writing
So, right. So the devolution comes in once you have invaders that come in and destroy what's established. So the written word was something that was a way to, keep the traditions alive in somewhere where you can write them. So when they started to burn those things, they went to carving them into stone. They started to try to break those things and destroy those things as well. You see what I'm saying? So all of this thought went into all of the things that were to come, and our ancestors prepared for those things. You see what I'm saying? They prepared for those things. So whether we got what they call a hospital, which my mother broke down in Latin, means a place to die, hospice.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there's no difference between hospice and hospital. They keep you comfortable for you to die. Like your job is to die there. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at that, you'll see that you went into a different state in a society where this was a job. This was a profession, but this wasn't the only profession. So if we looked at a living color back in the day, just to make it to something that people would understand, say, man, how many jobs you got? You understand what I'm saying? Like, so culturally, like, it sounded like something they was making fun of. He was like, nah, man, I got 10 jobs. You understand what I'm saying? Like, how many jobs you got? We got 15 jobs. You see what I'm saying? So when they're talking about, they tried to show it as a way of disrespect. But this is how you culturally tap back in. You didn't have one job. You said you had a primary focal point, but you was prepared to do anything and everything. So when you look at even our ancestral situation in regards to occupation here in America, you would find the same thing. You would find the same thing from our cultural situation. It was you had to learn how to do everything, and you had to learn how to do everything in the most perfect manner, or you got beat, or you got killed, you got sold, whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So all of these skills were an essential part of your survival. Your survival and your marketability. So for all of these capitalists out here, remember who was the first capital over here, and who made a capital gain, and who continues to make a capital gain from all over the planet, from who you are. So looking at that, you have to have a remembrance of what that is and how important your identity is in this crisis. So, yeah, but migration is nothing new for us. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So when it came time for, people who wanted to stay, they stayed. Everybody else was like, yo, I'm gonna holler at you, I'm out. I'm out. I'm all right. Oh, y'all staying? Oh, I'm going. You see what I'm saying? So, these are the situations. And even a more closer model, because they be talking about, oh, that's back in the day, or that's 200 years ago. Like, nah. How did you get from down south to up north? Your family come from down south. How did they get up north? That's just evidence in your lifespan, in your timeline. When you look at your generations, you look at your grandmother and grandfather, your great grandmother, great grandfather. Where did they come from, and how did they get up there? That's a story. You see what I'm saying? And if you still in contact with them, you got to know that story. You got to teach that story in your family dynamic. Because all of these things have a significance.
See what you said? See, you said it right there. Oh, that was 200 years ago. That's the excuse you hear all the time. I just heard it 2 days ago from a family member. I mean, that's the excuse not to do anything. That's the excuse right there. And we got to stop that. Right? Just like how, your mother broke down hospice, right? There's no such thing as a peaceful protest. Protestant. I just broke that down for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just told you what that was.
Are they still fighting and killing one another in Northern Ireland? Are the Catholics and Protestants, are they still killing each
Yes.
other right now?
Yes.
Is anybody on TV like, oh my goodness, you
Right.
see, you know what? See, the Irish, the Irish people aren't on the TV saying, hey, the English get free license to kill us because we're doing it to ourselves. So this is why they treat Irish people like that, because we treat each other like that. They're like, nah, you Catholic, you Protestant. They don't give a fuck if you are Catholic children or Protestant children. They will get on the bus and shoot everybody on the fucking bus, blow the goddamn bus up. This is where the improvised explosive device comes from. Oh yeah, I think some shit-eating Arabs got it, and this is where it came from. No. The improvised explosive device comes from there. The suicide vest comes from Vietnam. Suicide bombers. What you think? Like, are you bugging? Like, did you North Vietnamese and South Vietnamese, were they getting along? No, they was killing each other.
Ho Chi Minh said it was patriotism, not communism, that inspired me. Nothing is more precious than independence and liberty. You can kill 10 of our men for every one we kill of yours, but even at those odds, you will lose and we will win. That's Ho Chi Minh.
They had people in the trenches with them telling them, like, you're not alone. Your ancestors is here with you. When you die, you're going to join them. You understand? You understand? Like, do you know what kind of ferociousness a 5-foot Viet Cong can throw you one deep?
We don't care. Kill 10 of us. We don't care. Yep.
Right.
Man.
Absolutely nothing. What did they tell? I'll be getting on my Dick Gregory. I want to know what they told them kamikaze pilots to get into a plane with no engine. What did they tell them? You understand what I'm saying? So you bugging, like, you dealing with a culture of people who don't have the same value system as you, and they don't try to covet.
Right.
They ready to check out.
They tell you because they think
you telling
they
me
know
about
you're
a feudal system, a feudal Japan. Oh, okay. I felt my master. Sebaku. You see what I'm saying? Sebaku. My master's dead. Sebaku. You understand? Could you imagine someone taking a blade and a sword and cutting in their body, kneel down, and still had enough strength left to cut their own head off? Not cut their throat. Cut their head off. So this cultural system that we're looking at, we don't look at it in the same kind of way like it's supposed to, because we don't have our own mind. This is the damage to the psyche that happens when you don't look through your own cultural lens. You can't see cultural universalities on the planet. Because someone who's participating in these same savage ass acts for no reason at all can blind you to think that that's savage behavior.
They call it peaceful protest. That's what they told you that was.
This is what we delivered you from. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you angry?
Right.
Okay? Look. You got a TV in your house, don't you? Yeah. You watch TV. Okay, like, you can go to the store. These people over there, they can't even go to the store.
Right.
They don't even have a store.
All or nothing. Look, I'm all or nothing. So
all the psychological child telling you that this shit is artful.
That's one of my Q&A questions, kind of. Yeah. See, look, you're doing it. You're touching everything almost.
All right, well, let's.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You know.
I wanted to shout out, since we were shouting out people. I wanted to shout out Edward Wilmot Blyden. I had his grandson on one of my platforms on one of the shows. You know, he was kind of, like the father of Pan-Africanism. You know, one of those ones that are up there. Edward Wilmot Blyden, educated, writer, diplomat, a politician, primarily in Liberia. So before this brother and his family was over in Liberia, he went to Liberia as well. You see what I'm saying? So all of this Sierra Leone, situation, this Freetown situation, all of it, that has a reigning significance in our cosmological and organizational development throughout the United States of America. So if you look at the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey's movement, those people went to Liberia. If you look at the brothers and sisters who left Chicago, His Excellency Ben Ami and his camp, they went from Chicago to Liberia, and from Liberia to the Mount Israel. And a delegation of the UNIA went to Chicago and helped them brothers and sisters leave Chicago and go to Liberia, and then from Liberia to the Mount Israel. So when we look at these anti-African sentiments and we look at the disrespect of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey by certain groups that are here in the Americas on purpose, I understand. You see what I'm saying? You see that there's a cultural divide, and cultural divides tend to splinter in one direction or another. And whatever side you splinter on, the disdain and the disrespect comes for the other side. Naturally, it has to be that way. Because each one has to distinguish themselves. I don't see too much on the other side talking about the people who stayed, other than like, yo, you got to be bugging. You see what I'm saying? But not like an outright campaign. We don't connect with them. They're not us and blah, blah, blah. But on the other side, artfully, it has to be a certain kind of way because of leadership and membership. And leadership and membership are cornerstones in organizational development. So shout out to Edward Will Blyden for making that leap and going and returning to Africa. So when we start looking at this Pan-African umbrella, it's twofold from one side to the other side. I think that's what you wanted to ask about in regards to Pan-Africanism, what it looks like on each level.
Right, because Winnie Mandela's daughter, her youngest daughter passed away, and so I was looking up some stuff about her and everything. She was an ambassador to I believe Denmark, I think, and all that stuff. So it led to make a long story short, you know me, I follow the trails and everything like that. So I made it to the second president of South Africa and his wife, who is big on women's issues in Africa. And I heard her speaking she was having a conversation with a reporter, and she mentioned 55 countries. She called that Pan-African, so that is where my question came from. So I'm like, okay, so it only includes the 55 nations, I'm going to call it nations, countries, of different people, because she made a difference. She says 55. She said, though we're all Africans, we're all in our own countries, we basically go through the same things. So she brought up a lot of the issues that black women, African women have over there, but didn't include the Black American. And I was like, well, I'm going to ask Knowledge about this. So are there different facets or definitions of Pan-Africanism? What is it exactly? And I'm not going to say what my understanding is from how you told me. I want you to tell me what you think she was meaning by that, or from her perspective, so yeah. Her name is Mdike, by the way. She's the wife of second president of South Africa. He was thrown out by his government. But anyway, go ahead.
Pan-Africanism is an ideology and a political orientation. So I can see how the ideology and the political organization and orientation of the mind in regards to looking at what's in the best interest of self as a collective, not self as an individual. If the collective is taken care of, it does, a great, great deal and benefit for the individual. So We dealt with individual collectivism from a cultural standpoint as African people. This is where terms like diversity and things like that come in amongst your own people. You understand what I'm saying? Just as no two raindrops are the same, no two African people are the same. You see what I'm saying? But they can use and unify around unifying principles. So what's in the best interest of the whole? Where do we see this found already? In the family. Baba Kwame Ture, peace be upon him, oriented and broke it down at a very localized level, the most localized level possible. He talked about the family dynamic. And in the family dynamic, there are certain things that aren't discussed. And he went from the family dynamic all the way into the communal dynamic. And then he went into the larger portions or how people are organized politically. And he got into, a couple of things that were funny. He said, no one is at the mosque on Friday prayer discussing whether or not Jesus is their personal Lord and Savior. So when you're organized in a certain kind of way, you have political mandates that you have to follow. So in order for, this sister to orient her mind around a goal, her goal was to speak about the plight and be an advocate for the plight of the African woman. So now she looked at a local position of where she was and organized around that particular idea. If these atrocities are happening to African women here, I need to see if they're happening to African people, African women throughout the continent. Oh, they are. Who's advocating for them? No one. Okay, so now I have to bring this to the attention of this local area and to this continental audience. So now, if you are in suffrage, your pain is localized. You go to that particular area in your body and you begin to look for reprieve or some ease in that particular localization of where the pain is localized. You're not thinking about what is this pain and where is it coming from and what is its effect on the rest of the body. You just worried about if you got a headache or whatever, a stomach ache. You worried about where it is in its presence. So as we know, with colonialization and neo-colonialization, we are whitewashed about the plight and plot, and we're given pictorial images of degeneracy and negative self-talk about anything or any place other than the place where they want your mind localized at. So when you look at that from that particular vantage point, it's almost a miracle to have someone, especially coming out of South Africa. You got to think of all of the Western colonial powers and Eastern colonial powers and influence in South Africa. So whether it's India, whether it's any of these places, any of the European places and these American bastards that come, all of these places that are there to have their hands and their foot and their knee on the neck of the South African region, the whole of Africa. But then when you look at South Africa, you see what I'm saying? Exactly what that is. And that result. And it's almost, as I was saying, it's almost a miracle for someone to even have a kind of Pan-Africanist mindset, that kind of ideology, that type of political orientation in this very tumultuous and strong European influence in your daily sphere. Whether it's the UN troops or whomever's army is over there, whomever's political organization or spiritual organization is in that region wreaking havoc over there. You see? So her orientation, from my perspective, was a localized situation that upon further research and analysis or further communication with other sisters, had her still, even though it spread continentally, still had the blinders on to the plight of Africans all over the planet. So her plight, from that perspective, was a Pan-African situation that was localized and continental, and that kind of led to her focus and work on that particular area from her region and throughout the continent, not making it to the diaspora because um, this is where her focus was.
Very good.
So that's just my mindset about her political orientation. But as a Pan Africanist, there are levels of involvement and there are levels of association through your developmental orientation psyche in regards to being a Pan African. There are, as we know, if we use America in that response, we have Black nationalists. We get people that look to see what's in the best interest of Black people from a nationalistic perspective. So again, it's the same analogy as South Africa. We're just changing the scope of where it is. Instead of saying, okay, for Black people all over the planet, we're not concerned with that shit. We're concerned with Black people right here in America. That's a nationalistic ideology. So you're dealing with the people with no national origin, but in the sense of exploitation and in the sense of benefit for our enemies. So you have a nationalistic ideology that's not your own. You have a tie and a loyalty to a place that's not your own. So on one end, you have and you seek and you long for a connection back to the mother continent, but through clever and artful negative self-talk and from, interactions from people that come from the mother continent and you see that there is a divide. You see that you and them are not the same people. You and them don't have the same experiences. You and them don't have the same enemies. So this becomes a separation. And because you don't have the backstory to fill in those things, to say, okay, these instances right here happen where we came to your aid, you came to our aid, you came to our aid, we came to your aid. In that symbiote relationship, these things are very broken. So from a nationalistic perspective, you cannot be in a position where you care about Black people any place else other than where you are. So this is the beginning part of your development. This is the foundational piece. Because you even have people that are Black that don't identify as Black. So whether it's the term, whether it's the definition, or however they're localized, their separation amongst people who look Black. So you look at Black nationalism as a point and foundation to organize people who look the same. Now, the politics will determine, and if their ability to follow those mandates or adherence in regards to a Black nationalism ideology, again, this is an ideology and a political term that is used to organize and unify our people around a foundation. We're Black. You understand what I'm saying? So now it goes from Black to, through this process, you go into origin story, origin root. Where did you come from? So wherever that orientation is, it leads you to a particular place. So you say, okay, Africa. So you have a African orientation. You got a Black nationalist type of situation. So we're African people all over the planet. So now this is where this pan or this umbrella comes into play, where you're looking at an African national ideology and political orientation. So these what's in the best interest and benefit for the future of African people, because Black Power was defined uh, as what that which is in the what is it the best interest of Black people to uh, define, support, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people. This is how you organize in regards to Black Power. This is what Black Power and this is what Black nationalism is. It goes under this particular orientation to define, support, and defend that which is in the interest of Black people. That's what's in the best interest of Black people. So this Pan-African ideology follows the same, wavelength or pattern. It's just spread into, the African continent and then African people all over the planet. So this includes the people in the diaspora and the people on the mother continent. So as it progresses along in regards to what makes a people free, what makes a people sovereign, what's in the best interest of our people, land. So you might hear someone say, free the land. You would hear Dr. Collins say, free the land, Black laws for all Black people. So this is a particular type of orientation. So you can only institute governmental systems in a place that you own, operate, and control. So when you hear these Black nationalist organizations that were organized, these were some of the demands. You can look throughout the annals of history here in America, and this was based on land. You heard, Malcolm X say, revolution is based on land. You see what I'm saying? So when you start talking about revolution, because this becomes the next stage in regards to establishing freedom of the land. So when we were speaking earlier about our ancestral connection, in that situation, to establish a nation, it calls for bloodshed. It calls for bloodshed. So you look at our enemies, they say, give me liberty or give me death. You understand what I'm saying? So this is how far that they took it. And ancestrally, some of our ancestors fought in all of these damn wars in this place and all over the planet. So when you look at that in regards to revolutionary ideology, this is how far you are going to establish yourself in the world via land. So you're prepared to go to war. You're prepared to shed blood. You're prepared to give your life so that future generations after you would not have to go to the turmoil that you had to do. This is when you look at from 57 to 1970, African people here in the Americas funding, helping, and participating in the liberation of West Africa, the establishment of West Africa in regards to, those West African countries gaining their independence and removing colonial rule in those places. The chief supporters, the chief finances, all of them were Black people here from the Americas, whether it be North or South America. So this is a symbiotic relationship, just as some of the chieftain supporters and finances for the liberation fight of African people here in the Americas were African people that were coming. So all of this. And when you look at African women again, you look at the Dahomey tribe, and this is where you get the term anthem. You don't have a Jean-Jacques Dessalines without the queen who taught him how to fight. She was from Dahomey. She was in a women's brigade in the military over there. So we don't have a history of separatism in regards to our family going into battle. Our entire family went into battle. So that's another orientation when we look at, the progression and ascension going from a Black nationalist ideology to a Pan-African ideology to a Pan-African revolutionary national ideology. This is the progression. So as Pan-African revolutionaries, we understand that the basis of all of the things that come together are centered around a focal point in space to where we are prepared to go all in or all out for our future generations. We have that renewed understanding that this is our mission and goal to us. A true symbiote relationship between our efforts and our ideology within
I think you're breaking up. Is it me?
land. Us to break these and it look like it. What's going on?
Yeah, try again. The last couple of things you said.
In and out. So I think it probably started messing up towards the end of the whole part right there with that symbiote relationship between
Yeah.
our ancestors and ourselves. So our mandate in regards to what we were seeking to do with freeing the land. So that landmass, that governmental structure, that all of the things that go along the reestablishment. This is the revolve is to go from a situation of oppression to a situation of domination. Not from a situation of passive aggression. We come from a long line of people who vanquished our enemies, whomever they are and wherever they are. So that African revolutionary ideology is love that's established in regards to. So you get into conversations with people and they be like, "Well, you don't sound no different than I." Shit, they start talking. We here because we love our people. Nothing is happening to our enemies. Nothing is happening to them. They well,
you froze up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you just stopped like for a second and then so maybe stop moving around.
My point was well, that's how I gotta check to see if it's still
okay.
Freezing up on me. So Yeah. Our enemies get a chance to get old and say, thyroid and lung cancer.
It's bad.
And
It's
the
bad.
region might take a
You
while.
went out again. So you went out like a little bit, and then you started like to sound like a robot for a minute. So this is weird. Try again. Did he just go out and leave me here like that? Okay. But yeah, you were breaking up and freezing up a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on with the connection. But we will wait. Welcome back.
I guess it's too hot.
Oh, it's too hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them trigger words
Yeah, one of them trigger words.
that you used. You done with your?
So I guess we do part two.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if we should continue because you got some more questions and I want to answer, but if you can't hear me.
No, you were. Now it's not doing it. See, that's weird.
Yeah, but I'm sure if you start asking me another serious question, it'll go right back to it.
I don't know. I have other questions.
Okay, so let's try it and see what happens.
Biggie or Tupac, and you can't say both. All right now, Biggie or Tupac. I didn't say Biggie.
That was evil.
Yeah, I didn't say Biggie.
That's
or
evil.
Jay-Z. Yeah, I didn't say Biggie or Jay-Z. I said Biggie and Tupac. Yeah.
That is evil. That is the evil response right there. That's evil.
You just gotta pick one.
I would say Biggie.
Uh-oh. All right. He picked Biggie. Okay, so these next three are philosophical questions, so there's no right or wrong answer.
There's always a right and wrong answer.
Okay, you have to listen up though. You cannot be pro a specific thing at the same time and not anti everything else. True or false?
It's true.
Okay, you cannot be pro-choice and pro-life at the same time. True or false?
True.
Okay. Can you be pro-black and not be Don't
Hell
die
no.
yet. Don't die yet.
Hell no. That's the answer. I don't know if that's true or false or whatever. You can't be pro-black and pro anything else at the same time. You anti everything else. At the same time.
For the live, let me just finish it. But you already gave the answer. Okay. Can you be pro-black and not anti-white nationalism, aka anti-white supremacy, aka anti-everything else? The answer is no, he said. So
the answer is hell no.
It's
Let me write that down on my paper. Hell no.
right. The point is that your allegiance has to go somewhere. It can't be on both. It can't be on both sides. The philosophical question that comes to mind, it says, if you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. So the answer would be no. That's damn near impossible. So that's kind of
like no. See, look, we're here in America, and we used to be at odds with each other, but now look at the progress that we made. Okay, you can't be so negative all the time. Okay, can't be so negative all the time.
You're all or nothing, Sass. Yeah. Right here, you are either on the side of the oppressed or on the side of the oppressor. So it's either one of the, like, there's no crossover. There's no mixing. Okay, so which brings me to this question here. So, and you said that progress, right? So that was one of my questions. The civil rights movement of the 1960s had made progress for Black people in the U.S. We can't use the same bathroom and restaurants and water fountains as whites, and we can't even go to the same school with them and learn their history to forget about ours. This is progress. What is your response to that?
Is that true or false?
No, but what's your response to it?
What is it?
Okay, all right. Let me tell you. Okay, so this thing is sarcastic. I was very sarcastic when I wrote this. So yeah, I was kind of upset at the time.
This is real good right there. That speaks about the psychology of dependence, and how you make an addict. How you make an addict. And this is how you propose an abusive relationship. You know, these things are very subtle. If you don't deal with a mind of war, and you know, people hear us speak about war all the time, and they start talking about what war are you talking about, and blah blah blah.
Can't take it, yeah.
Yeah. If you want to die, you come into another man's house and sit on his couch, uninvited. You want to die. You're asking to die. You're asking whatever happens to you, happens to you.
Knowledge point a lot. That's different. They say that's different.
You come into another man's house. You go on a man's job where he's working to support his family. And they replace him with you. You go into a man's place of business and you want service. And you're not from that community. The lifeblood of that money or those resources that's garnered from that place stays in that community. You think by coming in and you're accepted into that place that now people from other communities are going to think it's okay to cross those war lines and come into that place. It's never won. You people are like roaches. You understand? So they got to squash the one roach before those other roaches come. So this is the mind frame that they're thinking. They got that thinking amongst their own people. You know. So a mentality about progress. Progress in America is Europeans on the top, everybody else in between, and Black people on the bottom. That's progress. This is what integration did. Black people on the bottom, everybody else in between, white people on the top. So when you look at a situation and you call it private, you call it, in actuality, a severe decline and an interdependent state. A junkie don't make drugs. A junkie will do whatever they have to do, fight, steal, kill, in order to get that high. America has black people in the same position of dependence, addict, junkie. Yo, what you mean the store ain't open? the fuck you mean the store not open? I'm gonna get my food. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. You used to go to your own stores. Your store would be open. You could go to the people's house if the store wasn't open. You could go to your neighbor's house if the store wasn't open. The communal fashion was the interfabric because all of our families were connected. All our families were connected to one another. So the psychology of an addict and the psychology of abuse, they have a ritualization of the abuse. And this is how you're able to, what they call it, relapse. Everything was going good, blah, 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 and this, and I had a relapse. So you talk to any addict, or you talk to anybody that's been in an abusive relationship, they got high again, or they went back to that abusive relationship. Both of them are killing you. Both of them went back. Where did we find that relationship from? Bond service. My ancestors being captive here. We go into what we would term as liberation. People was going back. People said they didn't want to go. This ritualization of abuse, this ritualization and codependency, and this addictive type of behavior and mindset. And the fear of having to be dependent upon self to do. A lot of us are in that state. I ain't about to do that shit. I don't know how to do that shit. You crazy as hell. You got me fucked up, son. I ain't about to be out there milking no cows and shit. So this is where the psychology of dependency comes in, because if you don't do it, you have to go to some place where it's already done. You're not in a position anymore to determine your own destiny, because if the store is not open, you can have all of the money in the world, you won't be able to get nothing out of no goddamn store. So this cycle of dependency and abuse goes hand in hand. So no matter what happens in America with black people, no matter what is done to them, no matter who gets killed, no matter who gets hooked up to the back of a red pickup truck and drugged for 12 miles, no matter who gets hung from trees, no matter whose knee is on the back of whose fucking neck, as long as the store is open tomorrow, none of these other things matter. So when the situation comes to leave, to go to another place, yo, I ain't see that store I be going to, son. They got stores over there? What kind of food? Who around? Talking about being around all black people. Oh, hell no. I'm around all black people right here, son. They ain't shit. You can have that. So these were the concepts psychologically that our ancestors had to walk in from all of these other places. And this is the situation we find ourselves in, where subsets of our society, the people that we are fighting so hard to liberate, to inject or make a jolt, a shock in that insurrection spirit, to research within the body, within the mind, within the spirit, are comfortable in captivity. So this is what progress looks like. And this is the only way that progress will ever be present, as long as African people are in this comfortability state of codependence and abuse. So that's progress in America.
Because if you say that none of that means anything, or if that's not good enough, that you're throwing shade at the ancestors, I disagree with that, because that's not something that they were fighting for. It wasn't a bathroom. It wasn't integration. It wasn't restaurants. It wasn't fountains. It wasn't their school. If you
Somebody came to them and someone whispered in their ear, and this is what changed everything. You understand?
Right.
So someone who wanted to destroy African family, destroy the value system of the African family, to create degeneracy in the African family, came to African people with this interorientation. You should be able to, because they were enemies to their own people on one end, but they were sent. They only go where they're sent. They were sent to weaken the Black power structure, which is the Black family, the Black power base, which is the Black family, and to introduce into the thought streams of each member of the African household something different over here for the African man, something different over here for the African woman, and something completely different for the African child, and then come back later and reconvene and set off a divide within the household and benefit off its degenerate state.
Why is that? The abolishment of slavery? Because of the abolishment of slavery? Yeah, it's a direct connection. Yes. It's messing with the money and the resources and all these things. The labor, the food,
right.
It's messing with all of that. So, yeah. And that's not something that we hear about when we talk about civil rights movement in the conscious community. They don't make those connections to try to better explain why these things were put into the mix. Because we know that the main issue that we were fighting, main issues was what? The abolishment of slavery. Winning our freedom. Number two, it was lynching. Lynching was a big deal. Okay. And I think that was the number one issue after the abolishment of slavery. And then the fair pay. Black women were just not being paid fairly by their employers. So when I look at and I see like civil rights movement in the 1960s, when they're, saying, okay, it wasn't for naught, none of this, we failed though, and on the end we failed at the end of the 1960s, but at least now we get to go to school with them. We get to use the bathroom with them, which I don't know why we would want to use the bathroom with them, but I digress. Restaurants, we can sit in the same restaurants and we can, what is that? 1, 2, 3, and drink off the same fountain. So,
the movement was hijacked. The movement was hijacked. The push was seeking to appeal to.
1 second, and that voting that they wanted. They wanted the voting right. So yeah.
Yeah, these were all of their issues. There were none of our issues.
Right.
And no black people wanted to go to no white people movie theater or restaurant.
Exactly.
They didn't want to go there.
That's right.
You do a survey. You understand? Like you do a survey, like because they put someone in front of your face with these other people on the side or in the background.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is where it goes. So that appeal to the justification of their existence, to show them on the bridge, arms locked with you, to show them on the bus with you that you couldn't even sit in the fucking front of the bus. Now they're freedom riding with you. You have to
Yeah.
understand what that
Right.
dynamic does to your
Oh,
psychology.
oh yeah,
The
yeah, the
same
bus.
people that's on the outside of the bus, the same people that's on the outside of the bus with hoods on their heads and dogs, the same people that's on the outside of the bus with police uniforms and dogs are the same people that's on the inside of the bus that's telling you, no, we're doing this for freedom. What freedom did you get on that motherfucking bus? You know what you did? You destroyed the local economic and financial situation that you had in your neighborhoods. All of those black buses. Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about these black bus companies that were halted during the bus boycott. So not only did cracker fucking infrastructures were affected, who was affected 10 times more was black people. They weren't getting on black buses.
Right.
They were carpooling and walking.
Mhm.
So the few black bus companies that existed, they could never reopen. You see what I'm saying? So all of that lobbying bus boycott situation was an idea that was hijacked from Reverend Jameson over there in Louisiana. Even down to the Rosa Parks situation sitting on there. It was a sister in Louisiana who did that before that. You see what I'm saying? If you got into that, you see where all of that stuff really came from, and you don't get no credit, no credit over there. Uh, so when you're talking about the dynamics in between these people, who funded who put up who, and who put uh, and propelled into the front of us, and then people start rolling with it. You see what I'm saying? So just like they do today, they give you your heroes and they turn your heroes into the villains. So you don't pay attention to them. You pay attention to their puppet that they put in front of you. You see what I'm saying? So they control them all. And this is why Malcolm warned us about entertainment and all this other shit. Like, there's no leaders in there and all that other, what I'm saying? Like, all of that, like, we don't got to think about nothing new. All we got to do is reflect on the wisdom that came before us and learn a lesson from it. There's no such thing as failure in African people, there's a blessing in it. So either you reap the benefits from it directly or indirectly, you reap the benefits from this bountiful harvest by learning a lesson. What lesson did you learn? Don't integrate. Don't fall for these orientations. Don't be making fucking deals and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? Like all of that, like you learn. How many lessons did you learn? You see what I'm saying? Like how many times have we been in this position before? Is this a new phenomenon? No. What's the lesson? So it's just bug looking at it.
Yeah, I forgot about that bus. Yeah, voting rights. So, it's a clear difference. You have okay. One more again.
Progress.
One more again.
Pro-
Bathroom, bus, restaurant, town,
progress.
school. Right. That's progress. Right. But what the fight was for was lynching, a fight against lynching, the abolition of slavery, fair pay, voting rights. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So here we go. All right. So here's here's the next one, and you just got to pick the name. W.E.B. Du Bois or Booker T. Washington. Don't hurt my feelings.
Booker T.
All right. Nice. All right. All right. So here's a question. Laws were made for the better. Okay. All right. Okay. This is something I heard, and this is not. Look, it's there's fallacy here, but I'm just going to read it out. Okay, this is quote unquote, laws were made for the betterment of Black women to disenfranchise the Black man. Black men have it harder than Black women in this country. What say you? This is a quote that was said in conversation, I was having. So, what say you?
Oh man, somebody need to ask me a little bit, saying stuff like that.
Okay, so it's right there when you start off with that laws. I'm like, okay, well, what laws you talking about? We need to know what law, All right. So the next one is.
Look, I'm looking at this definition of
okay.
progress. Because they separated with a dot. Prog, and they got rest. Forward or onward movement towards a destination. Move forward, onward in space or time. I heard some debates, with some people talking about progress, that Black people progress. You understand? Like, or the civil rights movement and all this other stuff. Like, this shit was just crazy, silly. But, when you start talking about silly people, you're only going to get silly things. Forward or onward movement towards the destination. What was the destination?
Liberation, right?
So if you're talking about a destination, then you have to have a starting point. And then when you're talking about progression, Malcolm said, if you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and you pull it out 3, that's not progress. He understood the meanings of words. Move forward. Forward where? What was wrong with the place where we were at?
Right.
This is how progression starts. You have to be in a state of disdain or in a state of unacceptance of where you are. This is how you look to move forward. Now, we was talking about famine. You understand what I'm saying? We was talking about this other stuff earlier, like, this was a motivation behind migration. So for the overall success of the family and for future generations, we moving. Nobody just saying, I'm moving. There's some kind of disconnect that's there. I'm sick of this fucking place. I'm out of here. Go on. So out of circumstance, situation, or whatever motivates this particular move. And whatever it is, as long as you're not in that state and condition that you're in currently, that's progress in the psyche. Forward or onward. So even though you might progress forward in a position or a situation, that may not be enough. And that will motivate you again for onward movement. So when you're talking about towards a destination, it ain't saying reaching the destination or a goal and objective towards a destination. Progression, advance. You understand? These are all things that have nothing to do with the end goal. But these are
goal, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. But they'll use this and say, look, you took 2 steps. We got children. The baby took 1 step. You're like, oh, my baby walking. You understand? Oh, my baby walking. Oh, my baby said a word. Oh, my baby talking. They so smart. Oh, they heard me say dumbass. They say dumbass. Oh, my baby's so smart. Look, my baby can count to 10. Look, let's count. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Then we reward that. Then they'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, oh, my baby's so smart. Like, no, space mastery leads to repetition. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, okay, boom. They heard you say it over and over again. And then more importantly, they saw your face. So they're like, oh, okay, this is the shit this motherfucker is amused by. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They call it progress. It's progress. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is what they call technological, because one of those words for progress is advance. Advance. So now, if you're looking to get a loan or some kind of finance, they loan you or they give you an advance based off of potential or future earnings. So if you looking to rent a property and you get some renters to come in and you look at their income history, you advance them a space in your dwelling based off of their probability to be able to pay your asking price. We're like, oh, we have enough coming in to cover these expenses. And it won't put me in a bind through litigation. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to pay your rent. You see what I'm saying? So this is what an advance looks like. You don't go anywhere. This is a tie-in in a debt to a future, situation. So this is what this advancement looks like. It's an advance. So it's made to look like you're progressing, but you're regressing. You're going backward. So if you look at a situation to where you're able to, what was those 4 things you said again? Abolishment of slavery, right?
Abolishment of slavery, lynching, voting rights, and fair pay.
Fair pay. So you look at those instances. So instead of you being in a situation where you're self-determined, these are all self-reliant qualities.
Right.
Someone has to let you do those things. They have to let you live. They don't lynch you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't. Oh, they have to emancipate you so you're not in bond service, but you are. You see what I'm saying? So no matter where you go in this plantation, your own, equal pay. If you're in a situation where you control your own destiny, you're in business for yourself. There's no situation about equal pay. So all of these things come back to not being in a position of autonomy, but being in a situation of servitude. Only if you're in a position of servitude are these things an issue. But if you're not in servitude, these things aren't an issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Progress.
The issue that I see is that certain Black people say it like that. Now okay. So first of all, some of these Black people are not pro-Black. What they are pro and contra Black. That's what they are. So just a little history here. Back in 1447, English words, pro and contra. Pro and contra. That's the phrase for it. That's the terminology for it. Pro and contra. Right. For and against on both sides. Okay? So you're not pro-Black, you're pro and contra Black. That's what you are. Okay? Because being anti anything. What were you saying? Can
you be both at the same time?
You can't be pro anything and at the same time and be you can't. There's a term for it.
What would they be?
If you are, then you're considered to be pro and contra that thing.
So they're really contra?
They're pro and they're for it and against it, which makes no sense. But that is the term for it. It was first saw 1447 in English vocabulary. That's when it came about. So anti means opposite side, against, rival, speaking against, dispute, contradict, in opposition, opponent, right? And then that was 1559. 1778 says against or antagonistic to some person or thing. So when you're speaking about Black Lives Matter and you're out there in the street, you're antagonizing somebody. you're going against someone. You're in opposition to someone or whatever. And then they will argue to say, well, it's not the people, so I'm not anti-white. You know, I'm pro-Black, but I'm not anti-white. That's what they'll say. They're saying that they're banging on the beast, the government, and not the people. Last time I checked, the government was the people. It says in the Constitution, we the people of the United States, right? We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and other prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So you can't make a separation between that. So whoever is in power in the government, that's the people. Their people are the ones in power. That's where that white supremacy comes from. Okay, so if you're not opposed to that, if you're not anti-white supremacy, then you know, then you're for it, right? You can't possibly be pro yourself. You can't be pro Black supremacy, because that's all that means. If you're pro Black, what you're essentially saying is that you're for Black power, you're for Black supremacy, you're for Black all things. That's what you're saying, right? Essentially. But I see people trying to make up their own definitions, you know, and you can't do that, because when you say I'm pro Black to somebody who's white, they're looking at you like you're a racist. And technically speaking, that would make you a racist, because if you're Black and you don't see that they are a threat to you, then you're not a racist, according to the definition of the English word of racism and what a racist is. So when they call Black people who are pro-Black racist, yeah, technically speaking, they're right, according to the definition. That came about in 1903. The ism comes from schism, and you know what schism means. Schism came around in 1384. So schism, the word schism was put into place in 1384, and then the word racism was found in 1903. Okay, the word race came about in 1547. So the word was made up. Now, when I go to look in the early 1900s and see what was going on with Black people had it together. Okay, they had it together. Like I said before, they were wanting the abolition of slavery. They were fighting against lynching. They wanted voting rights, and they wanted fair pay. That's what it was going on at that time. Now, somebody stuck that, you know, I'm not going to say somebody, you know who did it, put that word racism into, you know, injected that thing in there to cause major conflict, like a major thing. And it does, because all you hear out of people's mouth now is racism and racist government and racist this and that or whatever. It's a very negative word, and it causes anger and all these things, and it takes your mind off of what is really going on. So I don't know. The definition for racism, according to 1903, is a belief that one's own racial or ethnic group is superior. Now, see, look, I believe that, like, okay. And then it says, or, see, it's a lot of ors in here, or that other such groups represent a threat to one's cultural identity, racial integrity, or economic well-being. Now, now who suffers from this the most? Like, wouldn't that be us? Are we not to see them as a threat to our cultural identity, which they've taken away and thrown in the garbage, and we're all in disarray because of it? Racial integrity, you know, we're seen as the inferior race. Or economic well-being. We have nothing. We own nothing. We just buy. Just how they set it up to be, right? So according to this definition, that will make black people racist. So that means everybody's racist. So that word is ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous word ever. There's nothing wrong with being a nationalist. There's nothing wrong with black first. There's nothing wrong with white first. That they're white. They're supposed to say white supremacy is everything. And we're supposed to say no, black supremacy is everything. You know, that's how it's supposed to go. Now, them Protestants, okay, they wasn't having it, okay? White supremacy ruled. Okay, and it didn't come through no peace either. Okay, there was no peaceful protest. It was nothing like that. But they tell us that, you know, and then, you know, no knock on Martin Luther King Jr. because he learned his lesson. And I thank God that he did. You know, he shared that. He shared that through his speeches, and I'm sure he had took a lot of phone calls because he made it plain that he was speaking to the black nationalist groups. He said that, you know, in his letters, right? So it's and then that leads off into the Black Panther Party, right? That leads off right into that, and they understand what a protest is. They understand what standing up to your government is. It's in the Constitution, for crying out loud. Like, it's right in here. Like, you know, so I don't know, you know, why Martin Luther King Jr. had to go outside of his own community to get advice. You know, like, what was it, Gandhi and who else? I don't even remember, but Gandhi is coming into my head. Like, why would you need to go to, you know, get influence from Gandhi when he does not facing the same issues as you are? Wouldn't you go to someone who is going through the same issues that you're going through, and then, you know what I'm saying, and try to, you know, figure out a way? You know, I know he and Malcolm were two different sides of the spectrum, but that's who you should have gone to. Like, seriously, work with your own leaders. And at the same time, you understand that Kwame Ture was there. You know, he was Stokely Carmichael at the time. You know, all of these people, all these political prisoners we got now, they were there at the same time. They were all there at the same time. Like, why wasn't there any, like, conversation going on? Why? Because we're worried about what's going on with this oppressor over here, and teaming up with him and his liberals and his Jews, which they accuse us of being anti-Semitic when we can't be, when we're Shemitic people. That's the problem that they got here. Now, I'm not going to argue Hamitic or Japhetic, or no, I don't do that. I see black people, you know, that diaspora, being taken, being sold into slavery and things like that. So we would be those Shemitic people. They can't possibly be it, you know, if that's what the book is talking about. And I'm speaking according to the book, what the book says, not to what, you know, we may think out here in, like, quote unquote real life or whatever. But that is I just can't understand, you know, growing up and then starting to do research and teaching and all of these things. I'm like wondering to myself, like, why would he need to go all the way to India? You know what I'm saying? And then dealing with Martin Luther, and then, you know what I'm saying? And all of these Protestants, right? Like, and if you know the history about Protestants, you probably stay far away from that, right? But right. But, you know, I ain't got no beef with the Germans. I'm telling you now, because they you know, they educated some of our people. Okay, it's a shame that you have to go all the way to damn Munich to go to a university, because the country you were stolen and you've been in slavery for damn near how long? You know, and they refuse to allow you to get an education or whatever. You know, like, or it's sad, but yeah. So, in saying all that, what do you have to say about that? Like, why the importance of being and staying with your own, you know what I'm saying, and not going outside to, because nobody has your best interests at hand except for you, right? And common sense is not that common then, if that's the case.
You already know what I got to say. I just said it already. I don't got nothing else to say about it.
Common sense is not that common, right? Okay. Chutes and Ladders or Candyland?
Candyland.
What? What? Come on now. All right. Wow.
Right.
He said Candyland. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. This is okay. I think this will be the last one. This will be the last one because I was going to ask you about who is our current leader. Never mind.
You already know that answer.
Madam C.J. Walker said, "Our first duty is to humanity." Do you think she was throwing shade? Thoughts? Your thoughts on that?
Say it again.
Madam C.J. Walker said, "Our first duty is to humanity." Do you think she was throwing shade? What are your thoughts on that?
She was talking to black people.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much. Because, people will take that quote and run with it. I've seen the feminists take that and run right with it. Yeah.
Oh, she was a millionaire, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. She was talking to our people.
They wouldn't let her into anywhere else. She spoke at the church. Okay, like they all did. Even W.E.B. Du Bois did. He was, I understand W.E.B. Du Bois. I understand, but you can't be going that Martin Luther King Jr. route. Like, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work.
He died in the end in Africa,
Yeah, we'll give him
get
credit.
the rest of the story. Like, he's very herald over there as well.
Yeah.
The home that he was in is like a historical landmark over there.
I understand him. He was angry. He was angry and he wanted to get back at this cracker. I understand completely. I get it. And that's what I feel when I read about him. He really wanted to get back at him. And you know what I'm saying?
That was later. They had the tug of war. Like, white people, they will finance both sides of the war. They better just, like, the people that's watching, they need to go watch The Lord of War and understand what this shit is.
They armed the rebels. Of course they did. To help take you all out. And then they'll take the rebels out. Yeah.
This is how you could have, what was you talking about that shit yesterday or something? This is how you could have, what's her name? Gail, what's her name? Gail, with the one that was with Oprah. Gail, what's her name?
King.
Gail King, Oprah Winfrey, and everybody talking about Gail King and Oprah Winfrey. Nobody talking about them Jews that they work for.
Right. That's right.
They could talk about Nick. They could talk about 50. They could talk about Lil Wayne. They could talk about all them people, and none of them Jews that they work for.
Right.
You can talk about NWA and don't talk about Jerry Heller. You see what I'm saying? Like, you could do it. You could do it. Like, you'd be like, oh man, that music was destructive and it was degrading the women and blah blah blah. You're not talking about that bastard who put the shit out. You ain't talking about it. Mm-hmm. You ain't talking about. You talking about Jay-Z. You talking about Dame Dash. You ain't talking about Jimmy Iovine.
Right.
You ain't talking about them. And then when black people start talking about them, you already caught up though. Like, you can't talk. Like, Dame Dash can never ever say anything
again. Right.
Ever. You can't say that again. Yeah. Oh, yo, this is your wife? All right, go sit your ass down. They make sure that you're not gonna be, oh, Shannon Sharpe, you talking? This is your wife. All right, next. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you just keep on going and going. Like, you're not nowhere near us. Just like you was talking about. You broke that shit down like all the way. Like, it's people they not with us. You see what I'm saying? Like, automatically, like, so when you hear something, all you got to do is go, oh no, get the fuck out.
Yeah, you gotta watch
what they say. They start getting all crazy. How you gonna say that? See, this is why, because but people like you, this is why people don't say nothing. Because you ain't never said this about nothing, son. Son, you ain't never said this about nothing, son. Nah, no.
You all or nothing, says you all or nothing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, if this hype you up, wait till they turn on you, son. Wait till they turn on you, saying this is what I be talking to people like, you speak for them now. Oh, I've been here the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're gonna say, knowledge. That's how they come to me. What you gonna say, knowledge? I already know what you're gonna say. So I'm like, you gonna let me say it? No. I mean, I know what you're gonna say, son. I know what you're gonna say. Something African, something about. Yeah, I told you earlier. She was like, I just tell my, the children that I teach, like, if it ain't about African people, don't even come to me with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they know not to come to with the BS. Like, but when your politics is that solid, you don't have no conversations like that. You see what I'm saying? Like my man, the King of New York, man. Like this was the only time Lawrence Fishburne was any good, other than when he was what's his name, Morpheus for a second. You see what I'm saying? He was kind of a gangster, because Morpheus was a gangster. He wasn't no peacemaker. He wasn't none of that. He was a gangster. You understand what I'm saying? So when the crackers rolled up on Lawrence Fishburne with Wesley Snipes with him on the other side, imagine that shit. And he's still on the other side.
It happened exactly as it was
But
supposed
he said, we got a witness. He didn't say I didn't do it. He said, I don't leave no witnesses. Now, you just seen the man come in the store. I don't know if you remember that scene in King of New York. He came in the store to get some chicken. You see what I'm saying? Like, he was in there. The dude from behind the counter was talking shit. He was like, y'all leave those games alone. Y'all ain't got no money anyway. And he was mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
And he went in his pocket to the children and gave them money. And he went to the elder. He said, no disrespect, man. Get them something good, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same dude who walked in there ruthless, but you see where his heart was and his mind was. You saw his values and his politics, right? The dude behind the counter was talking shit like he was in a position better than those children that was in there. You know what I mean? Like, so this is the pit where they put one against each other. Them crackers came in there and he was like, we got a witness. He's like, I don't leave no witnesses. You know what I'm saying? So when they got out of jail, they was coming back. They was out of jail before these people even got back to the station. He was like, here, some flowers for your witness.
Yep.
He ain't in this position. He's like, some cheap ones. He's like, oh, you can kiss my ass too. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it meant nothing to them. They was not in that same kind of place. But we trying to operate from this place like we got we got some fake morality. We ain't got none of that. And the place where the morality was supposed to be, he showed you where it was. And the place where there wasn't supposed to be no love and none of that shit, no passiveness and none of that shit, aggressive shit, like straight laced. This is exactly what he saw. He showed you from one thing to the next. Like nothing. They had the little theme in the background, the whole King of New York shit, da. They showed you. They went after them Asians. They went after them so-called Latinos, all that shit. Ran up on them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, King Tito, that's right, you the king, man. Blah, 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 blah. He was like, tampons for what? For the bullet holes, puta, and shot the shit out of him. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just like, look, like this ruthlessness, this ferociousness we acting like we don't have. It's crazy. I could put all of them films together and just come with a couple of little parts that's right there. Like, I was saying, New Jack City, they went in there, Queenie eating motherfucker like he killed the shit out of that. You
Yep.
understand what I'm saying? You didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so retaliation is in order.
Introducer, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Retaliation is in order. Like, yo,
Yeah.
like that. Man, look, I'll tell you, if I had all of those little things, I'd be like, yo, this is crazy as hell. I'm telling you, like, this is a propaganda tool where our children need to see that all together. If I had them editing qualities and all that, I'm telling you, I would show you that part, Mr. T beating the shit out of Rocky. That part, that's it. You understand what I'm saying? Like showing Inchidaka throughout every little scene, dragging that damn parachute with that motherfucker through the ground. Like you have to see that. You see what I'm saying? And how we deal with traitors. You know? How we deal with traitors. Like they had to bring old dude back to his own family. Like, damn, like you won't even put your own cousin on, know his wife pregnant. In that movie, that Spook Lee movie, Drop Squad.
Yeah.
He's telling them. Like, boo boo, like this your cousin, man. Like, yo, it's your cousin, pregnant, wife pregnant, about to have a baby. You ain't said nothing. You lying to him, telling him you scared that he gonna mess up your name in the job that you in. You know what I'm saying? So, like, all of these shits right there, like just small little increments, because you can't go through the whole movie with any of that shit. You see what I'm saying? You got to get your little parts. Don't watch too long because you're gonna be fucked up. Like, well, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? They have you looking at that dude who was just his father's son, and not the cracker CIA agent that was in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like they have you fucked up in this, like when you fuck around in this shit too long, like they had you all crazy with it. You know what I mean? They be like, oh, I can't believe such and such said that. Like, what do you think? What they supposed to say? They own them. You know what I'm saying? They own them, and when they call them, they come running, all of them. And if they don't, they kill them or they make them look crazy or whatever. So you don't want to have nothing to do with them. They're like, oh, Dave Chappelle, what else? You see that Red, Black, and Green? Like, oh, click, who he married to. Next. See what I'm saying? Like, you could fall for that shit. You could fall for it real quick. They have you talking that shit, da-da-da-da-da. And you might have a moment, but they always come back to you. They always come back to you like, That's why I like State Property. You see that movie, State Property?
Yes. Yep. That Jay-Z movie.
Remember the character. Remember the character in there was like the greatest cast scene in the movie in a while. My man came in there, he seen that dude, he was like, yo, talk that shit you was talking the other day. And got to shooting in that bitch like nothing, like it wasn't like this is as close to where it come from. They wasn't even supposed to be talking. You see what I'm saying? Like all of these things come from the mind don't create it, or the mind do create the reality, but this artistic stuff that they come glean off of, they come with that shit. Like this is real shit. It's like, okay, this shit happened. Oh, they kidnapping motherfuckers and holding them for ransom.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, they're in the car like, yo, I tried to, I tried to, buy some champagne and da. Jay like kidnapped the bitch. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's the the situation right there. It's like, okay, like this ain't now. Jonathan Jackson walking out of the courtroom with the judge. That's where we're coming from. That situation right there. Retaliation is in order. It's going to happen. That Tales from the Hood movie, and white supremacist was looking at that black dude, he's like, hey, those people that you killed, what color were they? You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. He punched him in the mouth, he bleeding. He drunk that blood like nothing. He said, I like you, boy. He told him about a race war that was coming too. Did we miss that shit? Okay. Like all that, like you crazy. all that shit all together. There's just little small shit that's going on in the things and how they impose that. They showed that shit in Tales from the Hood. That black dude was there while they was beating on that brother and killed him. He was a politician or whatever he was. He was in one of them positions or whatever. They beat him and they pissed on him and all kind of shit. They went to go piss on his grave. Black dude there. And he had to live with the hell of him not getting into the situation. You see what I'm saying? Like, so all of it comes together in that shit. Like, you know. You got him in the insane asylum and all that shit. You got to live with that shit for the rest of your life. So just these aspects that plague the psyche in regards to our involvement to one another, our responsibility and duty to one another. And this is where retaliation comes into play. Eye for eye, 2 for 2, limb for a limb, life for a life, head for a motherfucking head like that. Hey. Hey. Yeah. That shit's good shit, man. Like, yeah. There ain't none of this. And then when it comes, it goes down to a devolution. It's like, oh, okay, you don't want to kill them? Okay, well, their family got to do this. Their family got to do this. They got the honor killings. They got the motherfucking blood debt, all that. What you think reparations is? What you think restitution is? You know, that's blood debt.
Paper, so you can spend it and it go back to the people you got it from.
No, I'm saying that's blood debt right there. Like reparations is blood debt. Like restitution is blood debt. Like you gotta be made whole.
Yeah, but most people
so
think
that's
paper.
Yeah, you're doing it for your safety to walk the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh man, you know, reparations, and they owe us and blah blah blah. Like, okay, so after you get paid, then what? They can walk the streets. That's why. Look, you said Biggie and Tupac. What's beef? What's beef? You see what I'm saying? Beef is when your mom ain't safe to walk the streets. You see what I'm saying? Like your mother, you're not safe. Your mama, nobody, none of that. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So beef was when you roll no less than 30 deep. Beef is when ICU, guaranteed to be in ICU, guaranteed, not like it's a high probability or a chance. So beef was when ICU, guaranteed to be in ICU. Like he was clever with that shit. You see what I'm saying? Like Tupac had the joint, you know, grab your Glocks when you see Tupac, call the cops because they was doing that shit. Like you see what I'm saying? So both of them was on that retaliation, but this one was it was more artful, it was clever. You see what I'm saying? Biggie said I'd rather go toe to toe with all of y'all. Oh man. Picture me what he said, my life in that man's hand while he just deciding. He wasn't having that shit. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't having that shit. Like he was clowning, he was talking shit. You know? He said fuck everybody without saying fuck everybody. You know who he was talking to. So-called thugs, willies, and Rapadons. What he says, so-called willies, big thugs. What he said, so-called big willies, thugs, and Rapadons. Like nothing. Fuck all y'all. Even on Juicy said it at the beginning. Fuck all y'all. Eat a dick.
He said that.
Yeah. Unbothered. Right, Sass, he was unbothered.
Unbothered, that's right. He was schwa. Yes. He was schwa.
Yeah, he was.
Right. Mm-hmm. He was. We
Let
covered
me
a
change
lot.
the name like 4 more times.
Yeah. I did. I did. Yeah. I'm the king round here.
I'm the king of
Uncle
the
Elroy
is
said,
not.
I'm the king round here.
That's what they call me. And well, look, his name was Elroy, wasn't it?
Elroy. Yep. Uncle Elroy.
Yeah, he wasn't playing.
I'm the king
He
round
wasn't
here.
playing. Yeah, he was L.
He said he paid
Roy.
$250,000 in cash. He said when he got his
Cash.
money, he was gone. That's what he said. He moved to Rancho Cucamonga. He got out the hood. And then he was going to go end up right back in the hood because he couldn't pay the taxes. See how that worked? I'm the king round here. I say that too. I'm the king round here.
That's right.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. That was all the questions. And oh, I had one last question, but that's done. That was, you be like, I don't have just 3. So when you hear the phrase "all lives matter," huh? I have no comment. No comment. Yeah, I think. Let me see. Yeah, we're done. Done. Let me see what this is. Yep.
Tuskegee experiment.
They don't want to hear about that. The medical apartheid book. You can get that one then. If you don't want to hear that. And let me see. That Black Power book, Kwame Ture talks about it too, right? If you want, if you're being like picky about what you want to read or hear, you got some options. Spoke on black maternal mortality. I thought that was nice. That was nice because we don't hear too much about the issues that Black women go through. We only hear the negative stuff. Like, I mean, that's a negative thing, but I mean like the negative stuff like attitude and not doing this and not doing that, angry and blah blah blah, and ugly and all that stuff. So I recommend that book. And what did Kwame Ture said? He said he wanted power. Forget money. That's what he said. He said, I want freedom. I want power. That's what he said. Now that's world order right there. That's world domination. If translate that.
We got 4 choices. Now I got to ask you this question.
New. What happened? You asking me?
What did you enjoy most about Saturday as a kid? Cartoons, Soul Train, Kung Fu, or playing outside?
Oh, come on. All right, I'm gonna do you like this. I'm gonna do you like this. Now, okay, summertime. Summertime. It was going outside to play with my friends. Summertime. If it was raining.
That's the choice. Nah. Hell no.
That depends.
No, it's not. It's not depends. You said going outside. Okay, you good.
No. No, you said going outside. Why Saturday morning? Cartoons. What was the other 2?
Soul Train and Kung Fu. You already made your choice. It don't even matter.
Oh my God! I didn't make my choice. I said if it was summertime.
Yes, you did.
I said if it was summertime. That's what I said, but I didn't
make. Yeah, it don't matter. No, I didn't say if it was summertime. Okay, I said as a child, and you picked your answer. That was a great answer.
That wasn't a good question, but
that was. that was. Damn.
I was an
playing outside.
Yeah, I was an extrovert.
Playing outside. That was me. Yeah. Because I could show all of the stuff from inside. You know, the Soul Train, the Kung Fu, and the cartoons. See, the Kung
What?
Fu
Wait,
was
you think?
meaningless if you couldn't go outside and beat somebody's ass. You know,
Oh, oh,
or mimic one of those dances from Soul Train, or talk about the
ah,
cartoon.
the Soul Train line. That was
Be,
my thing.
be one of those characters from off of the cartoon. I don't know who was it. Somebody. Sorry.
Wow, that was a loaded question. Damn.
It wasn't.
It was, and that's not an easy one to answer. It's not, but
And neither is Tupac or Biggie, but I picked. I didn't explain. I
I know
didn't
that
say,
was
well, I
yeah,
did this
that was cruel. I know.
because, it'd be
I
like
know.
Lauryn Hill or Rod Digger. It'd be like Lauryn Hill or Rod
I
Digger.
know that's cruel because then I also asked you about W.E.B. Du Bois, which in I don't understand why they be throwing shade at him like they do. Like oh he was just against Booker T, like he had beef with Booker T. That's all you see. You have to actually go do some research because they'll put like a little snippet in here, beef with. That's what he's known for, beefing with Booker T. So yeah.
Entanglements.
AKA confusion, AKA mix, entangled all together. You're not supposed to mix diverse sorts. Okay? Mixing seed. Nah, man. Oh, that just mean the garden. Get out of here.
I guess I got to do my commercial before I ask you if you got anything left to say.
Your commercial.
Been on here for 2.5
Yeah.
hours.
Yep. And we got to do everything, so that's good.
Give her a hand. All right, so let me see.
Give her a hand.
Subscribe here to the YouTube channel because I've seen people watching throughout all these other places throughout the length of the broadcast. So please subscribe here. If you don't know where to subscribe, it's www.youtube.com/DoTha It's DOTHA. Let me show my shirt because I put that up there and then I show my shirt. I still see that autocorrect from y'all cheap phones that y'all think is so smart. DOTHA. DOTHA, not THE. I don't know who E is. I do know who E is. It's not us. Okay. DOTHA KNOWLEDGERADIO. Subscribe. Check out the multitude of episodes that we have here. Multitude. Not mixed multitude, just multitude. Okay. Of episodes we have here. What else? Check out our e-commerce site, www.DoNowsRadio.com. Got the merchandise up there. Got all kind of stuff up there to check out. Show-related stuff. You could donate up there. You could do all kind of stuff. Everything.
You were gone. I had another. You stopped talking. I don't know what happened.
No, this whole thing froze up on me. All right. DoNowsRadio.com. Check us out at DTK Empower You.
I don't know if you can hear me or not, but you're freezing up, so you got to make it quicker. Something is going on.
I don't know. I just put everything up here.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. That in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm a African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm a African. I'm a African. I'm a African. I'm a. Let's get
And
back
that
to the
motive
gritty
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.